thank you all for coming.
I am Brett Nadrich. I'm the editor of FoodPolicyUS. We're a multimedia platform for dialogue. So the idea here is that there's so many local actors here in our food space, from local grocers to beer producers, wine producers, everyone in between, all the way up to the high-level policymakers and business leaders. What we're trying to do is serve as the connective tissue for all that. So these are some local leaders really making headway in this space, representing different aspects of the beer and wine industry, and rather than do them a disservice by glossing over the highlights, I'll allow each of them to kind of introduce themselves and say a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, and once we do that, we'll dive right into questions. So thank you for coming again.
Ladies first.
So is everyone here a beer fan? But do we like wine? Yeah. Okay, well, Glen's Garden Market has been a great supporter of Boxwood Winery. In fact, right now they're pouring our trellis by the ounce, I suppose, by the glass. And Boxwood Winery is my family's winery. It's located in Middleburg, Virginia. We don't only make wine, we also grow grapes. So 100% of our wines are estate fruit. We have a 21-acre vineyard, and there's a lot to learn about grape growing in this climate in the Mid-Atlantic region. It's a labor of love, a lot of passion is involved. So we do our best in the vineyard, and we strive to show the vineyard in the wines, and so we've been doing that since 2006 was our first vintage. And our total production at Boxwood is about 2,500 cases. We make red wines and we make rosé, but unfortunately our rosé is sold out, so I have samples for us to taste after the talk of the 3 wines that we make and 2 different vintages of the Boxwood wine.
All right. Sorry, I don't like microphones. Hi, I'm Thor, Cheston. Can you all hear me? I'm opening Right Proper Brewing Company in Shaw in 8 weeks. 624 T Street. We are right next to the Howard Theater. If you're looking at the Howard Theater and you do this, we're right there. So we have a wonderful, beautiful space, and putting in a 5-barrel brewing system, very neighborhood-focused beer bar. We're not trying to distribute or anything like that. We just want to be a good neighborhood spot for people to come on in. All right.
All right. Let's give it up for Rachel and Thor. I'm Dave Coleman. I'm one of the founders and owners of 3 Stars Brewing Company. If you're not familiar, we are a local DC handcrafted ale house. August 9th of this year, we celebrated having beer in the market for 1 year. So thank you very much for supporting us in our first year. We appreciate it. We kind of push the envelope a little bit as far as what we brew. A lot of people expect new breweries to come out and brew ambers and lagers and things of that nature. That's just not Mike and I's style. We brew beers that we want to drink. So we have a tendency to focus a little bit on higher alcohol beers. For instance, right now, Glen's has our Southern Belle on tap. This is a beer that's dedicated to my wife and my partner's fiance. It is an 8.7% American brown ale, imperial brown ale, brewed with toasted pecans. That 8.7 is sneaky. It will get you, but you will enjoy every minute while you're getting got. We are also committed to a lot of things that involve DC as a community. We are working with Danielle and her team here at Glen's to use our spent grain in order to make food products rather than just feeding farmers animals and being used for compost. We're trying to figure out a solution so we can use our spent grain to feed the kind of poverty-based hunger group here in DC. A lot of the children in this town are afflicted with poverty-based hunger, and we see ourselves being able to have a role in getting rid of that. So thank you for coming out. Hope you have a good time. Drink up and have fun.
So a round of applause again. Thank you. You'll notice Dave and I are both drinking the 3 Stars. So if we're all okay. So things are going down. So Thor may have to be the one to carry the panel towards the end. But we'll dive right in, keep things real informal. I'm hoping we can talk for maybe 30, 45 minutes here at most, and then open it up to all of you if you have questions. But looking at this, I figure we structure this conversation in terms of production, those questions of distribution, and then consumption. So starting with production, I know something we've all talked about, and I've seen a lot of press about
for all of your operations is with respect to sourcing, whether that's sourcing ingredients, sourcing equipment, how that impacts your relationships with not just your suppliers, but your customer base, your partners, everyone else that you're collaborating with. So maybe if you could all say a little bit about that.
At Boxwood, the focus hasn't changed, and it's always been on red wine making. It's always been on growing our own grapes, making wines from those grapes. The Virginia wine industry has changed in ways that they're more interested in growing than sourcing from outside sources. Now, that's in perfect years, and I was talking to Brett about this by email to everyone. Well, when you grow grapes in climates that can be challenging, you don't always know what to expect, and you learn every year something different. As I said before, we've always used all of our fruit. All the wines have been made from 100% estate. Now, 2013 was a very difficult year. I don't know if you remember the humidity. You know, it's a beautiful day today, but it was a lot of rains and not much solar radiation. And that basically means that you have growth of weeds and grass, etc., and you have disease pressure. So all of our Merlot was wiped out by downy mildew. We are sustainably farmed, so we spray the least amount possible, no fungicides, no herbicides, and we do it every 7 to 10 days. If you miss a spray, well, you know, you might have some issues in the vineyard. Well, we were wiped out 100% of our Merlot, which is 40% of our grape production. Merlot is used in all of our wines, and they're all blends. So this is a big deal. So for the first time, we actually had to source fruit from outside of our vineyard. The first thing I look for is within the AVA. So Boxwood is in Middleburg, Virginia. AVA is an American viticultural area, which is recognized for grape growing relevant to quality winemaking. So in 2012, the Middleburg, Virginia AVA was put into rule by the Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. And so what I try to do is source from within the AVA if need be, so I can have Middleburg, Virginia on my labels. It's recognized as being a higher quality wine, basically. But I can't do that this year, so I look for within the state of Virginia. And I was lucky enough to be able to find Merlot. It's been a difficult year for everyone, so Merlot is scarce. Someone backed out of a contract and they called me so I could source the grapes. Now, you know, we're always having to change in the industry in Virginia wine because it's not the same every year. It's not like California, which has gotten a lot of criticism for wines without much identity. Well, in Virginia, we have every vintage is absolutely different. So you can become more personally involved with wines that you make, grapes that you grow, your vineyard, but also as a consumer, you can become closer to the wineries that you follow as well, knowing, well, what does it mean that it was a difficult vintage? Well, it normally means that you spend a lot more money because there's more labor involved. We do everything, you know, by the book for quality wine production, and it costs you more to do it. So you make less, and it costs you more to make it. That's just the way that it is. Some years are really easy. So the Virginia wine industry is changing. We're growing more Vitis vinifera, so we're growing more of the European grapevines. Also being more estate involved, and we're reaching a greater distribution. So traditionally, people have been touring the Virginia wine region, drinking apple wines, drinking whatever sweet wines, buying $12 wines, what have you. But now Virginia has really grown as an industry recognized for high quality winemaking, so that has changed significantly. When I started selling my wines, I did it through self-distribution. I think 3 Stars does that, and Thor doesn't need to do that because everyone's going to come to his place and drink the beer, and he's all good. Anyway, I'm very proud of being locally sourced, not only in my own spot, but being a local product and serving my immediate local market makes me a very happy person. And So now, if you people, you lovely people who drink local wines and local beers, you're more reticent to actually drink them. So thanks to that, but the times have changed completely. Norton Grape. What's a Norton Grape? Anyone know? Not on the panel? Anyone know? Okay, Norton Grape is native to Virginia. So grapevines, the ones that I grow are European, and they are grafted onto American rootstocks because European grapevines are susceptible to certain insects that American grapevines are not. So the Norton grape has its own rootstock, and it can survive, and it's more weather hardy, winter hardy, so it's easier to grow. But I only grow Vitis vinifera because I enjoy to drink those wines.